quick run through, Liberals, of Mark Carney's conflicts of interest with Brookfield Asset Management and how exactly he's made Canada any better. Carney, he's gotten nearly none of his major projects off the ground. One of the very few he has, $25 billion investment in prefab housing. Guess what? Brookfield Asset Management just purchased a company called Modular. They make prefab houses. Our economic policies are being dictated by what's best for Brookfield Asset Management, not the Canadian people. Just announced nearly 800,000 immigrants in Q1 2025. This despite the fact that 75%, overwhelming number of Canadians say we cannot afford any more immigrants. Guess what? Brookfield Asset Management owes $37 billion worth of real estate in Canada. Has more than doubled since 2015 when Justin Trudeau was elected. Continues to go up. Basic economics, supply and demand, flood the zone with supply, aka immigrants. Demand is going to go up. Canadian policy is being set for what is good for Brookfield Asset Management, not good for the Canadian people. You look at a chart since 2015 of real estate prices, both rentals as well as ownership. It has shot up in Canada, unlike what has shot up in any other country. And that's because the leadership here is looking out for the elites at Brookfield Asset Management, not Canada. Out in BC, you look at our deforestation policy. We're seeing wildfires like crazy on the east and west coast, which Liberals will tell you is due to global warming. Actually, the reason is because when you deforest, you have to leave a percentage of trees in the area in order to allow enough precipitation to not cause these forest fires. But it's cheaper to just deforest and cut everything down. What are they doing? They're cutting everything. And guess who does much of the deforestation in Canada? Brookfield Asset Management. So Brookfield Asset Management is pumping their profits up while Canadians suffer with these wildfires. Again, our deforestation policy is literally being dictated by Brookfield Asset Management. China just announced massive canola tariffs on Canadians, further damaging our West Coast. Our West Coast has gotten hammered like you wouldn't believe. They need some relief. China announces massive tariffs on canola. Guess what Canada does? We announced that we're going to spend $1 billion, billion with a B, building 3 ferries out in Vancouver. You say, why the heck are we doing that? That doesn't make any sense. Couldn't we build those ferries at home? Our economy is struggling. We ranked 50th out of 50 in a recent GDP per capita growth study that was put out from 2015. The reason is, you look into it, $250 million from Brookfield Asset Management, from China to Brookfield Asset Management in 2015. Again, our domestic foreign policy is being run by Brookfield Asset Management, not looking out for the Canadian people. On the domestic front, what has Mark Carney done? Barely anything, except for Bill C-2, which is the most extreme bill since the Patriot Act after 9/11, where every Canadian with a computer is considered a digital services provider, and Carney, through Bill C-2, would be allowed in the national interest to look through any Canadian's communications, digital communications, for any reason. This is the most intrusive invasion of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms as a free society that Canada has ever seen. Yeah, you won't see any reporting on it in the mainstream media. Bill C-2 also allows our government the ability to read any Canadian's mail, without notifying them if they deem it in the national security interest. Again, mainstream media, you won't see this at all. Bill C-4, retroactively back to the year 2000, allows the Liberal Party carte blanche for any misuse of Canadian data collected in the run-up to elections. And they have hundreds of thousands, millions of pieces of data. You would not pass a bill like this unless you definitively know you have misused that data. So what do they do? Why exactly are they passing bills like Bill C-2, attempting to pass, Bill C-4? Bill C-63 is the biggest attack on free speech in Canada that we have ever seen. Bill C-63 creates something called the Online Safety Commission with 10 unelected bureaucrats and an ombudsman sitting on it. They have the ability to throw you in prison for so-called incitement to genocide. I think we all know how that's going to be applied. But perhaps scariest of all, this newly formed Digital Safety Commission, any citizen can report another citizen if they believe they are likely to say anything hateful. I kid you not, a citizen can report any other citizen if they believe they are likely to say anything hateful in the future. Well, can't see how this is going to be misused. And if these 10 unelected bureaucrats and ombudsmen deem you a large enough threat, you can be placed under house arrest and given an ankle bracelet. I kid you not having posted anything, but out of the fear that you may post something hateful in the future. It is insanity, and it is an attack on Canadians' right to free speech, unlike anything that we've ever seen in the future. So to wrap up, our foreign policy is being dictated by Brookfield Asset Management. At home, he continues to allow nearly 1 million immigrants in a quarter, total insanity when the government is completely against it. And he decides to push the weight of the government into being able to attack any of his opponents. That's what he's using. Bill C2, Bill C4, he can get into any of our online communications, open any of our mail, be absolved of any misuse of our data, and go after our right to free speech. Is this really what Canadians voted for? Is this really what Canadians voted for? We've already lost $63 billion from our economy since Mark Carney was elected. The guy does not even have a home office yet. I kid you not. You cannot reach the man. He does not have a home office yet. He is running this country into the ground, and it's intentional, and we need to get the word out because this man will not stop. He clearly does not give two damns about what the polling says. We need to hit the streets. I'm organizing rallies Saturday, September 13th, Saturday, September 27th. If you're interested in supporting, hit the link in my bio. I have some really great gear up for sale. We need to get out on the streets and make ourselves known. Great hoodies that mock Carney. Guy's a friggin' clown. Can't believe he was elected prime minister. Any donations will go towards promoting the true rally Saturday, September 13th, Saturday, September 27th in the Ottawa area, because we have to physically get out on the ground. The Saturday, September 13th rally coincides with the rally in the UK that Tommy Robinson is organizing. Fantastic. They're expecting 500,000. I know it's a little tougher in Canada, but let's see if we can get 5,000 patriotic Canadians out there, because we have to hit the streets. We've seen all these foreign flags in our streets. Meanwhile, our country's being decimated. And we're not saying, I know there's a lot of patriotic Canadians that are fed up with what's going on. It's time that we hit the streets and make our voice known. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see a lot of you Saturday, September 13th.